Welcome to Algebra 1, Chapter 1, Foundations for Algebra. Domains that we'll be studying, quantities, and seeing structure in expressions. Big ideas for this chapter, variable and properties. A question that can be asked regarding variables: how can you represent quantities, patterns, and relationships? And a question regarding properties: how are properties related to algebra? Your get ready questions for Chapter 1 to help ensure that you have the skills necessary to move on successfully. First, a section on factors. Find the greatest common factor of each set of numbers. Let's do number 1 together. Find the greatest common factor, or GCF, of 12 and 18. Well, you may recall that a factor is a number that goes into another number evenly. Factors of 12 include 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Factors of 18 include 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6, 4, 5, 6, and 3. Now, if we're looking for the greatest common factor, well, we know what greatest means. Common will mean a factor in common between the two numbers. So I see we have a 1 in common, we have 2 in common, we have 3 in common, and even greater though, I see a 6 in common. So 6 will be our greatest common factor for 12 and 18. A section on least common multiple. Find the least common multiple of each set of numbers. Here we're looking to identify the least common multiple, or LCM, of 5 and 15. Now, a multiple is a number that another number goes into evenly. So multiples of 5 include 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Multiples of 15 include 15, 30, 45, and so on. Again, we're looking for a common multiple. So 5, 10, 15. It's like playing Go Fish. 5, 10, 15, 15 in common, and that seems to be the least common multiple. So the least common multiple of 5 and 15 is 15. Using estimation. Estimate each sum or difference. 956 minus 542. It says to estimate each sum or difference. So what we'd like to do is to identify some number very close to 956 and another number very close to 542 that make this subtraction much easier for us. So I think, well, let's round 956 to 950 and round 542 to 550. Notice how that will make some of the subtraction much easier for us. Notice also that 956 was rounded down to get to 950 and 542 was rounded up to get to 550. That helps us be a little bit more accurate in our rounding. So again, subtracting 950 minus 550, 50 minus 50 is 0, 900 minus 500, 400. Simplifying fractions. Write in simplest form. 12 fifteenths. Well, seeking common factors of 12 and 15, of course 1 is not real helpful. 2, not a factor of 15. 3 is a common factor, so we divide the numerator, that's the top of the fraction, by 3 to get 4. Divide the denominator by 3 to get 5. A quick check, no common factors between 4 and 5, except for 1, and that doesn't do us any good. We can divide the numerator and denominator all day by 1 and continue getting 4/5. Fractions and decimals. Write each fraction as a decimal. Number 16, 7/10. Well, 7/10, consider our decimal place values. So we have the tens place, the ones place, the tenths place, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, and so on. So when we're given a number like 7/10, we really just need to write 0.7. Therefore, we have a 7 in the tenths place, a 0 in the ones place, really just as a placeholder to help us identify that decimal point, but 0.7, also known as 7/10. Adding and subtracting fractions. Find the sum or difference. 4/7 plus 3/14. Recall, when adding or subtracting fractions, we do need a common denominator. When multiplying or dividing fractions, we do not need a common denominator. 4/7, 3/14, 7 and 14. The least common multiple of 7 and 14 is 14, so I think we should convert 4/7 into a fraction with 14 as a denominator. Notice all we need to do is multiply numerator and denominator by 2, and we'll arrive at 8/14 plus 3/14. 14, 14, our denominator will stay 14. 8 plus 3, 11. And a quick check to determine whether or not this fraction can be simplified or reduced. Nope. We are good to go with 11/14. Looking ahead vocabulary. Please work carefully, and if you need help, use your resources.